Hello, everybody. We are live. We are live. I see Instagram is telling all my followers that I'm going live. I'll actually be going live today with one of my best business friends and partners, Ashy Jones. I'm very excited for this. Actually, today we are going to be talking about consistent income in your beauty business. How to get consistent income in your beauty business, right? So it's one thing to get a sale. It's one thing to say, man, Christmas was great. It's another thing to say, oh my gosh, not only did I make 10K in December because it was Christmas, I made 10K in January, 10K in February, 10K in March. And so not only knowing how to hit your numbers in your beauty business, but maintain those numbers is just as important. And this is something that I'll be going over with you guys today along with Ashy. Now, while she jumps on, I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about this on my own, okay? Oh, I just saw her. I'll go ahead and give you guys all a wave. Go ahead and request to join Ashy. And okay, let me see if I can figure this out actually. So I think that helps. Oh, yay, there you are. Yay! Can you hear me okay?
I can, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay, I was just telling everybody what we're going over today, which is consistent income in your beauty business and how it's not just about, hitting that 10K month. We've all had some crazy month we've hit and we felt so proud. And then it was like, oh, how do I keep that? How do I maintain that? That's how you build a sustainable business.
Yes, definitely. I think a lot of people think, you like you were saying, you hit those months that is like, really rewarding, and then the next month it's a little bit slow. So yeah, it's definitely about keeping consistency. You really want to plan ahead and get those sales consistent every single month. You don't want to be having a 10 grand month and then the next month's a 2 grand month. It's just, you want it to be consistent. And yeah.
Yes. I call this roller coaster income. So it's just where it's not enough for you to quit your day job. And, you've realized that, okay, I've figured this out, right? I can make money, but I'm not making enough to go full time. And so maybe you've even gotten to the point that, for some of the people who are viewing this or viewing this later on after we're done with this live, maybe you've gotten to the point that, your income it's hit those numbers that you've seen that you're like, oh my gosh, I think I can go full time. I think I can do this. But you haven't figured out exactly how to keep it that way. So the next month it ends up being zero. I mean, how many people have you talked to in the beauty industry who say, oh my gosh, no, I've hit big months, but then the next month is nothing, right?
Exactly. It's really scary not knowing how to pay the bills the next month when you don't have bookings, or you have all these cancellations and you don't have anyone on the wait list to call and say, hey, I've got a cancellation. Do you want to come in? It's really scary. So you do have to really plan ahead, think about consistency. And I think a lot of people also get scared of the word sales. Like, I think a lot of people, when they think of sales, they think pushy. And it's just, people need to get rid of that stigma, because really, like, sales is literally connecting with your customer, building trust and helping them. Like, you offer a service or have a treatment or a product that someone needs. Like, you can help someone. So, like, don't keep it a secret. Like, get it out there and help people. And that's what sales is. It's literally helping people. If you have something that's going to help someone else, I mean, how awesome is that?
Exactly. And so, with that in maintaining, I think it's a mix. A lot of people, they like to focus on word of mouth, and they like to focus on, I'm trying to get to people to share my stuff. I'm making my business cards, I'm putting my business cards everywhere, and it's just not growing. And I think, and you tell me what you think, but I think it's a mixture of focusing on new sales, new people constantly coming in, and then return customers. So treating those people well, right?
Yes. It's so much more affordable for a business to maintain their existing clientele and database than to continue finding new clients all the time. So you've got to continue finding new clients all the time, but you have to really nurture the ones you've got. Like, what about, all those people that you treated last month or a couple of months ago, or that you sold 2 months ago? Why don't you, look at those, the database that you've got, and find out, what do they need? What am I not telling them that I've got that they need? You got to nurture them and bring them back and like build that connection with you. Like, it's really important to nurture the existing database you've got, and more affordable.
I wonder too, how many girls actually keep that database? Like I can imagine that's something that has to be learned too, and so it's not even just having the database and saying, what do I do with this? It's, have you even built the systems? Have you built these systems to even allow you to scale up into consistent months, right?
Exactly. Like, creating a bit of automation and follow-up, like the client or customer that just bought something from you the other month, like, have you followed up with them? And how was your treatment? How was your product? Do you have any questions? Just making that extra effort to make connection with them and contact, to find out how they're doing, and then they're going to want to come back. It is really super simple, but it's literally creating these systems to make it a little bit more automated, and like a system, so it continually just is like clockwork. It just happens, and then the clients are like a not a roller coaster, like a roundabout. They're coming back all the time.
Exactly. And so from even like what because obviously you've built a huge, beauty business that has clients that rebook and come back, and you have new clients coming in the door. The first thing that I think something I hear from you a lot is focusing on, the planning and the goals, right?
Yes. I speak to a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm booked out this week. Next week's pretty empty, but it'll get busy. And I'm like, next week is around the corner. Like, you gotta plan for next month. Like, this month should be done. Like, you should have your bookings, and you should have a little bit of a wait list or a cancellation list, and you should be planning next month. So, I mean, Eric and I have spoken about, a checklist for maintaining consistent income, which, first you need to have your financial goals. Okay, so what is your goal for the next few months? Okay, you need a financial tracking spreadsheet. Okay, you need to make sure that you know what's coming in to be able to reach those goals. You also need like a high ticket service. Okay, yes. So that's really going to help like boost your income. But you can't just rely on just a high ticket service, because they're not the treatments that clients come back, regularly for. Okay, so you also need a reoccurring treatment. So people are booking consistently. So, if it's, a service that they can come every month or purchase every month or every 2 months, that's really important. And you also need like roughly around an 80% rebooking rate. So that means these clients are purchasing from you like at least 80%. And of course, planning ahead, because you can't be winging it anymore. You just can't. You're gonna have, like you said, a roller coaster of income.
Right.
And one of the biggest things that is really important on our checklist for maintaining consistent income is marketing and branding. Because you could have the most amazing product, the most amazing service, you could do the best treatment. But if you don't have the marketing and branding, who's going to see it? Who's going to buy it? They're going to keep scrolling through, move on to the next one. And if there might be a competitor out there that doesn't even do as great work as you, but people are going to them because they look the part. They look like they've put into that.
In fact, that it can speak for you when you're still not really there, or if you're a newbie, or if you feel like, you know, if you feel like you're not an expert yet, your marketing and your branding can speak for you and say, well, she's an expert, right? And so, and while you want those to even out, I mean, you know, customers do kind of see through that eventually, right?
Yes.
But it can help you if you're one of those people who, you know, this is making money is important. The branding and the marketing speeds up the process, right?
Yes, it will get people coming in without you always going out to find these people.
Yes.
That if you have the right branding and marketing, you are attracting the right type of clientele. Okay, you're attracting the clients that aren't chasing a bargain, you know, who just shops around. You're really kind of tuning in to who you want to target, and that's kind of a massive thing that people, I think, miss when they are doing their marketing and branding. It's like, who are they even talking to? Like, who is your ideal client? Who do you want to just see your page and be like, oh, that's what I want. You know, that's what you want from your marketing. You want the client to find you because you're speaking to them. It's like a shop window. You know, people are browsing. They're just window shopping. You know, they're not going to go in unless they see what they like. So,
Right.
good deal. First impressions.
Exactly. And so going into like the goals, right? And so you know, starting, yeah, and I'm very pro figuring out annual goals before anything, because you always want to figure out what's the big goal and then work backwards. The goals create the plan, right?
Yes. So I always think as well that you've got to have like an annual goal, but that's kind of broad. And it's like, oh, that's, you know, when you're starting somewhere, it's like, oh, that's so out of reach. And so it becomes a little bit overwhelming. So when you break down those goals into quarters, you know, then it just seems so much more achievable. And it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to get your head around. Besides, you know, you're looking at like, hey, maybe your yearly goal is 100,000, but you're at 0. You're like, okay, well, how do I get there? So you really need to break it down and work backwards. So I like to do every 3 months, set my financial goal, work backwards, and really work out what I need to make each month in those 3 months and each week. And then break it down to like, how many services do I need? How many new clients do I need to do? Like, it's when you have a plan and you have it written down, it really does make it so much easier.
Guides you. It's a guide.
The
If you're not planning, if you're not starting off with planning, you're just I tell people you're just shooting in the dark. Like, you don't even know what you're running for. And then you tell yourself, oh, I want this Range Rover, and I want, you know, I want to put my kids in private school, and everybody knows what they want. But at the end of the day, they don't have a plan to get there. Yeah. And so the plan starts with really honestly having specific goals, and then, you know, then it's the action steps, right?
Yes.
And ultimately, you know, what's great about like quarterly, the way that, like, you know, taxes work and stuff, you know, how it's broken up in quarters are so great because, you know, you're focusing really on 4 times, right? So if you want to make 100 grand, you've just got to make, you know, the 25,000 per quarter, and then we're talking about per quarter, right? And sometimes if you've got a strong plan, even though you've evened out quarter 1 and quarter 4 in work, quarter 4 ends up being a lot less work because of the work that was done in quarter 1.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, and so it's almost like the beginning of the year, the right now time is the most important out of anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quarter 1 is going to be basically like the starting point, the base, the foundation of what your next quarters are going to be. So, for example, we're talking about 100,000 for the year. Okay, so we're breaking it down into quarters. So, you know, 25,000 every quarter. But then, so the first quarter, you're aiming for 25,000. Okay, the next quarter, why are you still aiming for 25,000? You've already made it. Let's aim for 40.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
So then that yearly goal is not 100,000. You've already you're close to 200,000 or whatever it is. Like, you're just exceeding it. So it's just makes it so much more beneficial to do it by the quarters. And Yeah, the first quarter is so important because it's the foundation for the following quarters. And then the fourth quarter is going to be a breeze.
Massive and easier. It's like you're working smarter at that point.
And
right?
you've already got all these new clients coming in from the first couple of quarters. So you're already getting like 80% of those people are just rebooking every month or every 2 months or purchasing, you know. So it's just fourth quarter is a breeze. And plus you've got, you know, like specific days throughout the year that you can do, you can plan to have a sales campaign, you know. So you got to like plan ahead. So February's coming up. We've got Valentine's Day. Okay, people need to be planning for Valentine's Day now. Like, you need to be planning for Valentine's Day. You need to work out your offer, and you need to start putting things in place so you can start advertising, you know, a few weeks before Valentine's Day, so people have time to see you and purchase from you for that specific day. And then next you've got Easter or Mother's Day.
Right.
So you've really got to plan, and every quarter will have a specific event or date, special date that you really want to plan for to kind of boost that income, boost that online sale. So for example, if you're a service-based treatment or you know, coaching business or something, and you've only got a certain amount of bookings, like, so those, and you can't fit any more people in those days that we're planning, like Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, okay, you've got to have something online that is like, okay, well, I can't fit these people in, but I'm selling something online as well. So yeah, it's always good to make sure you know what events are coming up, what days you want to do a campaign for, and really start planning that. I feel like we say the word planning all the time, but it's what it is.
It's the foundation. I'm a freak about planning. You should see my notepads. Like, I'm just, my house is full of notepads that I probably haven't looked at. You know, after I write it down, I don't look at it. You know, after that time and I've achieved, I'd never look at it again. But my house is covered in it, because if I don't write it down, I mean, I have no direction, and I wake up and I don't even know what I'm doing. Here's the thing, like, let's say you work at a salon, and then you also have clients on the side, right? But the goal is to go fully for yourself, right? You want to work for yourself. You want to work from home. You want to work from your studio, whatever it is that you want to do. You know, if you don't figure this stuff out while you're working your job, if you don't figure out how to plan properly, don't even try to work for yourself, because working for yourself, there's no boss telling you, hit these numbers, we're on pace for this. That, you know, that for me has always been wonderful. I just get to show up, you know, when I worked a job, I just got to show up and be told what numbers I was aiming for. And then I was the motivated one who was shooting for those numbers. But when you wake up as a business owner, you're telling yourself, okay, these are the numbers. And then if you're not that person who sets these numbers up, oh my gosh, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're not gonna make it, right? So it always starts with figuring out what those numbers are. And you know, I know a lot of people kind of run into unrealistic numbers blindly. So they think, you know, somebody who's never made $5,000 a month, you know, ever, may be saying January 1st, that's it. By the end of January, I'm gonna make $5,000. And that's not even correct planning either. You really have to start from an end point and work backwards. And that's why quarterly is more realistic than like month by month to me, because you just can't like really, there's so many habits and mindset things that you've got to shift. You just can't run into a month and saying, I'm going to be a completely different person. It's just not who we are as humans, you know? And so, you know, tracking, and then it's so funny. I can't tell you how many people love to set goals, but then they don't want to track, right?
How do they know that they're reaching their goals? How do they know they're even close to hitting their goals?
It's so true, but you know what? Even like as a coach, that's probably something that some of my clients struggle with the most. It's the actual action of having to sit there and track and have a CRM and, you know, plug these clients in. And the thing that I always tell them is you've gotta think of this as one day you're going to have an employee who you're telling that they have to do these things.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to do it yourself and master it yourself, how are you going to tell your
Mm-hmm.
employees and train your employees to do it properly?
Yeah.
You've got to do it first,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Yeah. And so, you know, that tracking, if some people here, I'm sure everybody has set their New Year's resolutions, and I'm sure everybody has said what they want to make for the year, but then they haven't set up the systems and the things that they need
Yeah.
to hit those things. And they're not even, they're hitting, I mean, even I'm a victim of it, or not a victim, I'm somebody who's done this. I remember in my first year of business checking my numbers like twice a month. And that's, there's no way to inspect where you're at. Halfway through the month, you're already losing if you're not hitting what you need to hit.
Mm-mm.
So in my opinion, so like I'm for people who follow me, I love Grant Cardone. I'm obsessed with him. He actually tracks numbers every day. And I think that's a bit obsessive. But he likes saying he's obsessed. I like weekly. So I check weekly because I just don't have time, you know. So I spend a Sunday, I take my coffee and I look at my numbers and I say, where are we at? How do we need to adjust, right? Because you have to inspect what you expect. You can't, there's things you can't plan. Nobody planned coronavirus, you know? And I'm sure it messed up a lot of businesses' plans. And so, but you have to, you have to inspect so that you know what to do next. So that if you need to pivot, if you need to make changes, you can do those things, you know?
Exactly. So I like to look at my numbers every week, but I like to break it down by the day. So I will jump on and look at the schedule for the next day, and so I can plan for that day. So for example, if I'm like, especially for a salon, you have to look at your day and then be like, okay, well, I've got a little gap here, or so what are you going to do about it? Are you going to jump on the story? Are you going to look at the cancellation list? Are you going to look at your client's history, that all the clients that are booked in? Are you going to look at their history and be like, oh, well, she's booked in for an eyebrow wax, but she had a lash tint like 8 weeks ago. She's probably due. Okay, so I'm going to write that in my notes. And then when that client comes in, I'm going to remind her that, oh, you're due for an eyelash tint. Or, like you have to really plan. Like you can't just rock up and think that you're going to make your goal for the day or the week if you don't plan ahead. Like it's just so important. So I'm a planner as well.
Yes. And so it all starts with that. And then so once you figured out this, you're like, Erika, Ashy, I have my goals. I have my CRM. I'm good to go. Now what? Right? So now we actually need the correct services that are going to help you. What are we going to sell? What is the offer to, your clients, your potential clients going to be to help you hit these numbers? And that's where we start talking about high ticket services, right?
Yes. So your high ticket service is going to really help you get these numbers. But say, for example, okay, I do cosmetic tattooing. So my high ticket services is a cosmetic tattoo. But I don't see someone for a cosmetic tattoo, the same person, every month. I see them maybe twice a year. So for me, that's a high ticket service. So I'm going to get income quick. But then I've got to sustain that. So I need to convert my high ticket service into, a more affordable monthly service. So you have to have both. Otherwise, you are spending so much money marketing to get new clients in the day, like every day, and it's just not sustainable. So the high ticket services are so good, but you have to have it in combination with a recurring service.
So like, wig services, for instance, if you're designing a wig for somebody, it's so funny because the wig is a high ticket item, right? Something that you're putting together. Maybe you're not custom making it. Maybe you've made a few of them and you're selling them, right? It's so important to not just sell somebody a one-time wig.
Yeah.
So important to also think about how else, not only can I maybe add on, what can I add on to the sale to like add to the sale so that we can make more with less work, but what, and I'm saying this so that, if you're a wig if you're somebody who does wigs, how can you create a reoccurring service or something that somebody needs to come back to you?
Yeah.
Is there some type of maintenance that can be done?
Exactly. Like, is there a product that people need to put in the wig to maintain the wig and make, kind of maintain the longevity of the wig and the health of the wig? So is that like a product that is sold that people purchase every couple of months, or I don't know.
Or maybe can you clean the wig for them on a monthly basis for only a certain amount of money per month? It only takes you 10 minutes because it's what you do every day for your wigs anyway. Is there something that we can put together to ease the client, make them feel like they're getting a luxurious experience? Because at the end of the day, beauty, our clients want to feel luxurious, like they're experiencing something luxurious. They want to feel special, right? Is there something that you can do? And then also be able to bring in more revenue for yourself on a monthly basis. So it's not just about that big amount that comes in, right?
No, exactly. You have to always think about, okay, this is my high ticket service. Now, how do I get that person coming in regularly? So perfect example, with the wigs is that you have to think outside the box. There's so many things you can do to help that client maintain her investment, and you're getting something out of it as well. Okay, so you're not being a pushy salesperson, you're actually helping that person.
Helping them.
Yeah, and definitely. So
I can't tell you how many times I've destroyed hair extensions that I've purchased. And if the person, I go to the same place, and if they would just offer something where we'll take it for 3 days and we'll take care of it for you and restore, do what they have to do, I'd be like sold. Because the way I look is so important to me. My extensions are important to me. And if you tell me that I'm going to go from buying new extensions every, 6 months to buying it only once a year or once every 2 years, I'm going to invest.
Yes.
You're not only are you going to maintain the look of my extensions, but you're going to, you're going to honestly take the maintenance issue off of me. So it's not even just people. You think, oh my gosh, well, people aren't going to pay for that. No. I pay for convenience. There's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason why, the delivery apps are doing so well. Right? It's because you don't want to go to Taco Bell. You want Taco Bell to come to you.
That's true. It is all about making it more convenient for your customers, and everyone loves convenience. It's the world we live in. I am a big DoorDasher because I would rather be at home focusing on the things that I'm good at besides wasting time going to pick up my own food. I even DoorDash my groceries because I'm like, it's so much quicker for me to do it online, get it delivered, because
knowing your client too. So if you know that, and I'm just bringing up wigs because that I know that a lot of people who follow me, they sell wigs, they sell hair. If you know that your age group that's buying from you is buying wigs, maybe they're older, they're more mature. Maybe some of them are losing their hair, or they're trying to hide their gray, and it's just a lot of maintenance to color. If that's the case, this about them, maybe ease and not having to go out and take care of the thing is really important to them. And so if you know your target market really well, it's really easy to custom tailor an offer that's perfect for their needs, right?
Definitely. You've hit the nail on the head, because you have to know who you're talking to, because you need to know what they want, what they need. Not even what they want, it's what they need.
Exactly. And so you're really big on high ticket services and talking about that and what services give you the most revenue. Do you like focusing on the high ticket services because of the ease, it's easier for you to get to your goals quicker, or what's your focus on? Because for me, I actually, being a product, more of like a product than a service, I actually, I'm big on little sales. But I totally understand, focusing on the more expensive sale overall. Is it because it's easier to scale?
I So basically, I feel like your high ticket service is generally the service that you're known for. So that is what's going to attract the people to you. So say, for example, you're a salon that
That's true.
offers
That's right.
20.
Never mind. My product labels are one of my most expensive items, and that's what I'm known for. So, JK.
So yeah, so clients literally just come to you because they they know, okay, Eric does product labels. So you're attracting all those people that need product labels.
Got it.
So then you get them in, which is so much easier to get them in for that because you're known for that. And that's why having a niche is really important. Mm-hmm. And then once you get that client in or that customer in, it's all about converting them onto your other services. So like the amount of people, that I hear that go into a salon or a business go, oh, I didn't know you did that service. Oh, I go somewhere else for that. But, oh, now that I know you do it, so.
I've done that.
Yeah. So, I mean, don't keep things a secret, but you attract people for your specialty, which is generally your high ticket services. And that doesn't mean it has to be super expensive. It means that it's a higher end treatment. It's a specialty. And when something is a specialty or that you're known for, the price generally can be a little bit higher. Like if you're someone who's known for blonde, like doing blonde hair, like you specialize in blondes, like no one's going to be like, oh, I wonder how much she charges to get my hair blonde. They're going to be like, oh, I'm going to her. You just don't even think about the price because she only does blondes.
That makes
like
sense.
If I wanted to dye my hair blonde, I'm not going to go to a hairdresser who's just broad. I'm going to literally search for the one who specializes in blondes. Yeah. And I'm not even going to ask the price because I want the best job.
Right. So the high ticket service, the one that you're charging the most for, is the thing that you're best at. It's what you know.
Yeah. So it might not even be the most expensive service. Like, we're known for cosmetic tattooing, but some of our highest price services are actually skin treatments. But we're not known for that. So we can convert a client to that, but we are known for cosmetic tattooing. So that's why people come to us. So it's easy to attract those kind of people and then convert. Right. So it doesn't have to be like the most astronomical price. It's just like what you're known for, but you have to make the price worthwhile. So for example, I don't know how many people I speak to who have a goal, like they have, they're making say $0 to $1,000 a month, and then they have a goal of like 50,000 for the month. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, well, what services do you offer? And they'll say lash extensions. I'm like, okay, cool. So what do you charge? Oh, $100. I'm like, well, how long does it take you to do that service? Oh, 3 hours. I'm like, okay, so let's do the math here. Mm-hmm. You're undercharging for your time. So that $50,000, like doing the math, you probably are only ever going to make 5,000 because you haven't priced accordingly. So that's a big thing. Like people just throw out numbers.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing that, because I'm such I love planning and I love, numbers and stuff. That's the thing that one of the biggest things that, I see beauty girls struggle with is just throwing stuff in the dark and they're just winging it, and then they wonder why they're struggling.
So they don't care really they don't work out the math and what price they're charging. They're just like, oh, I'm just, throwing it out there just to get the client. Right.
And then
you're not attracting the right ones.
You have your high ticket services, and then is that the main thing that you push, and then you push into the reoccurring services? Is that like something that you focus on? Okay. So the reoccurring services are the upsell, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then, So I'm just trying to get the funnel straight. So then you do that. And then it's just focusing on rebooking those people, getting them booked in. It's funny you say how this is all making sense to me. The place I go to injections for actually is a laser. They call themselves the Laser Cafe. They specialize in laser hair removal. And I've never gone to them for that. But that's what they're known for. But I don't think, I just look at their services and what I think I need and stuff. But that's interesting. And so, but they're even very good too with getting me in, because they'll email you saying, hey, it's time for another Botox treatment. It's time for another Jeuveau treatment, and they have in their system, like, how long it typically lasts. Yeah. And so that's when they start, and I'm like, oh, you're right. I've got to book an appointment, and I call in, and it works. It works for them.
Exactly. This is all about the system. Yeah, the system, because people's lives are busy. They want things, but they don't, they'll think about it and
for them.
You have to do it for them. Like, if you send an email saying you've got you're due for your Botox, and then they still don't respond, send them a text message in a week. Hey, we noticed that you booked in, your Botox, is due. And then automatically they're going to be like, oh, yeah, cool. Book me in.
And it's not bugging them. I can't tell you how many girls I talk to, and they're like, oh, I'm bugging my client. No, you're not bugging them. Mm-hmm. You're doing them a service.
Doing them a favor.
Yeah, I have a busy life. I can't remember the last time I got my Botox injection or whatever. Like, just tell me, I've even begged them, like, just book me for my next one. I don't know when I'm supposed to come back. I'm going to forget until I literally see the lines on my forehead. Yeah. And so, yeah.
I always think it's important to just rebook, whether it's a product, service, whatever it is, like, just have them already book them in, or have a system that if they haven't rebooked, like, you need a system that tells them it's time. Like, it's
correct. And then when you do that, you're able to predict your income.
Exactly. Because exactly, like Botox, like the Botox that you're getting, it's like a reoccurring service.
Yep. Mm-hmm. The Jeuveau's every 3 months.
You want to get those. You want to get your customers on that roundabout. Mm-hmm. It's all about getting them back in. Like, what is the service that's going to bring them in? Because that is how you predict your income.
Right. And so that's why you say that the rebooking, it should be so high. It should be 80%, because we're talking about beauty here, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a hairstylist, your client's going to have roots in a few weeks. If they're like me, mine come in like 2 weeks, and so I should be rebooked for 2 weeks from now. And then my hairstylist will know in 2 weeks, I have this much money coming in from Erika, right?
Yes, exactly. It's reoccurring appointments literally does the math for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
and then that's how it gets easier as a beauty professional. That's how it gets easier as the quarters go on, because you have these reoccurring people. These people, and by the way, something that people don't talk about. This is why it's so important to be nice and get your people to love you. Me and Jessie, we have this girl out here in San Diego. She's amazing. And she couldn't book us for the pandemic. It was just a nightmare to try and book her. So we started threading, which was just, oh my God, I hate threading. It's so miserable. And so anyway, so she's finally opened up her books again. And, we were like, oh my God, we got to get in. And the reason why we love her so much, even though the threading looks good, it's painful, but it looks good. She's more expensive, by the way, than the threading. Sometimes the threading for me even looks more like, clear than it's sugar waxing, but her personality is so amazing that we're like, no, we miss her, and we want to go back to her, and to try and get into her books is crazy. Like, I told her, like, I got to just book you like 2 months out and then just plan for it and be ready. And I'm a sole believer that it's because of her amazing personality. And so when I see girls who in these esthetician groups and these hair groups and stuff and microblading groups, and they post these text messages of them, kind of like acting like bossy to their clients. Oh, you were 10 minutes late. So, you know what I mean? Like, just be kind, because there's so many of us. There's so many beauty people that you have to lead with your personality. You
Yes,
know?
it's so important. Personality and just building trust and connection with your client, building a friendship or client or customer is so important. And that's why, I want people to stop thinking about sales being pushed, like think of the word pushy, because it's not. It's literally about connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the amount of clients I have who don't even need anything from me, but I still see them every month because we have a connection. And I've had them for like over 10 years. I've seen them, go through a marriage, have kids, their kids graduate, then become grandmas, like all this stuff in their life. And it's awesome. Like, it's really awesome. And it's so rewarding. But yeah, basically they're coming every month to see you. It's not even sure they need anything. Sometimes they might just want to chat. Like, it's all
true.
It's all about the connection you build. Yeah.
I love gossiping with like I got my hairstylist, I got the lash girl, I got my, just everybody, whoever it is that I've stuck with, I have a relationship with them.
Yeah.
And even Jesse, I mean, who he gets his hair cut by, he's my husband, he loves going to that specific person, right? Because he's like, did it right, she was nice to me. He got his hair cut like a week ago, and he was saying, God, she did such a great job, but she was just a horrible human. And he was like, even though it was good, I just didn't enjoy the experience. And I was like, that sucks.
Exactly. You want to leave feeling really good. You actually want to leave spending money, because that does make you feel good.
Yeah.
Something,
He's on right now. He's laughing. He was so sad. Like, he was like, it was a great job, but she was mean. It's just, I don't know. I feel like even when you start making a little bit of money in beauty, because it can be amazing money, I feel like there's a level of like pride that grows along with it, and you feel kind of like a big deal. And it's just important to kind of stay humble and at the end of the day, know that you're being hired for your personality.
Yeah.
Right? So it's, because anybody can do, if we're talking lash extensions, anybody can do a volume or whatever. You know what I mean? It's all the same. It's all the same.
I mean,
somebody will figure out your technique.
Yeah. I mean, there's, the beauty industry, like every industry, is just, it's flooded.
Yes.
But what brings people back is you. It's all about you and the connection you build with that person. So that's what I hope everyone is learning about sales right now, is that it's
a people thing.
Connection. It's people. It's just building a connection and building trust. And that's what it is. It's so important. And that's why when I say you should have a rebooking rate of 80% at least, that's really not easy. That is so easy to do. That is easy to do.
If you're a pleasant person, it should be really easy. Yeah. And that's why, and it's all clicking for me. I'm like thinking about all the people I have to book appointments for every month. I'm like, that's why they're booked out. Because they're so good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then they tell their friends.
Right.
Because they actually talk about you. It's not even, because you could be doing services or offering products and things that people can't see. Like when you get, a haircut, people see it, so they might comment. But if you've got a product or service that people can't really see, like, you find that your customers start talking about you as a person. Oh, I absolutely love her. You know, oh, my skin girl said this the other day. It was so, they start talking about you. So you have a conversation because you become a friend. Like, it's part of their life.
And that's how you create that repeat clientele. The repeat clientele is somebody who knows you. And, and this is why, me being in graphic design too, and I coach graphic designers, so many graphic designers, they have an issue with being in front of the camera, or, they're introverts. And so I push them to say, I say, get on the phone. And the reason why I want you to get on the phone, or I want you to get on Zoom, is because the relationship changes when you hear somebody's voice, or you know, when you actually hear and you ask them questions that have to do with them.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you actually get to know somebody, it becomes a relationship versus this thing where you just, you know, text your services and
Yeah.
here's where to buy, you know. And so I focus on relationship building, and relationship building is what creates return clientele, you know, aside from all the other things, which is, you know, doing it quick, or being easy going, or all these little things that go along with it. So I think the most important out of everything is just being a likable person, and you will go far if you're likable and you do all these other things that we're talking about, which is, you know, the planning, the sales, the targets, all that. And then comes the branding, which, by the way, the personality is your brand. It's part of it, right? At the end of the day, like, you know, and I hate saying this, but I am in branding, and I'm saying this. Even the girl who I just talked about, who is, you know, booked out, she's always booked out. She has probably like a pre-made logo that she uses that she probably found on Etsy or something. Right now, she can always increase that when she wants to grow and get big and get beautiful. But your personality is a part of that brand. It's your voice, you know. Now, if you want to grow, you know, and or maybe your brand, you're so new at it that you struggle with putting stuff together, so it makes you look, maybe you are really good at what you do, but you look maybe cheap, or you look inexperienced, or whatever the case, whatever it is that is happening because you're struggling to do it yourself. You know, branding can repair that issue. And so, you know, that also works. But in my opinion, and I say this because, you know, just being honest, it's so many people come to me because they're not having sales, and they say, get me a new logo. I'm not having any sales. And it's not your logo. It's not. I'll take your money, but it's not.
There's missing gap. It's never just one thing. It's missing elements. But you have to stop being a robot and turn into a person, because people, like, your customers, want to see real. They want to see authenticity. They want to see that you actually care about them. Like, you know, they want to know that they can trust you, and that's what it's all about. So I mean, I don't like being in front of the camera and things like that. But honestly, I've always had repeat clientele, and it's super easy. You don't even have to be an outgoing person or super confident. You really just have to be nice and genuinely care about people. Just be genuine. And people see that, and that's what they want. They can see through you if you're being robotic and you're just doing what you have to do, taking their money.
Exactly. It's funny. So like in my early 20s, you know, I worked at Hooters for years, and there would always be women that came in, and they would be like, God, $15 for a burger at Hooters. And I mean, it's true, right? The food is not good, but
that's funny.
The thing, aside from, you know, the cute outfits and stuff, the thing that they always trained us on was your personality. So being really friendly, doing things for them, like cracking their crab legs and things like that. And I always like look at these businesses that I've worked at, and like just things, you know, businesses that do really well. Starbucks is very similar to this. Yes. So any type of business that you see, if you start observing this, where they go above and beyond with the customer service, they're always going to do well. It's always going to be repeat clientele. And even though Hooters is known for the boobs, of course, you know, that's not the only thing that keeps people going, right? Because there was a reason why families go there and people celebrate their birthdays there and stuff. It's because you get this fun experience. And it's just so important. Just, you know, if you're watching this and you're like, God, how do I do this? Pay attention to, you know, where you go on a day-to-day basis. Where do you go, like, that makes you feel good? I walk into Nordstrom's and I feel wonderful. You know, or Gucci is a great example. I love talking about Gucci or Louis Vuitton, because when you go into Louis Vuitton, you've got your sales specialist who is ready to treat you like a queen, and, you know, show you and tell you, demonstrate, and they stay with you the whole time. And that's the reason why they're able to sell these expensive things. It's because they're not Forever 21, where you're walking in there and clothes are everywhere and the salespeople hate you and you're, you know, and so, you know, you've got to think about the differences in how businesses are ran and why they are flourishing, you know, and it's ultimately, I believe it has a lot to do with the people that they hire and they bring on.
Yes.
Yeah.
What really bugs me is when I go into a restaurant or a store or whatever it is, and I walk in and I'm not greeted or there's no eye contact, and people are chatting, like the workers are chatting to each other.
Or on their cell phones.
I immediately will walk out. I'm like, I'm done. If you can't take the time to stop what you're doing and say, oh, hi, how are you? Do you need any help? Or I'll be right with you. Then I'm like, okay, you don't have time for me. You don't care about your customers and clients. Goodbye.
Exactly. And if you're like one of those people, because I mean, I also, you know, I've gone through those phases where I'm like, I don't like people though. You can teach yourself how to do that too. There are books for that. Okay. Like, you know, there are personal development books. You can go to Barnes & Noble or, you know, your apps that you listen to the books, and you can just Audible and you can just get a book to teach you how to be nice. And literally with the habits, as the habits form, you kind of become a nicer person, you know. And ultimately, it really is just kind of being interested in the person that you are servicing. So it's as simple as just asking them about their day. Or, you know, asking them, what's your plans for today? Do you shopping? What are you doing? And, you know, just all that stuff kind of matters.
Genuinely interested in your client.
Yeah.
Really, yeah, that's all it is. Just being genuinely interested. Like you leave whatever is going on at home or your bad day at the door and you go and be you are there to make your customer or client feel good.
One of my tricks, and I learned this from Hooters, because women hated us, right? So the first thing that you do when I worked there, if there was a woman there with like her husband or her boyfriend, you compliment them. So I said, oh my God, your earrings, where did you get those? You know, get a little Regina with it and
feel comfortable.
Find something. And people, it's amazing how you see people light up and they're like, oh, I like her, you know, because she likes my earrings or she likes the way I do my makeup. Find something that genuine that you actually like and that you can compliment and do it, because it's simple. It takes a minute, but number one, it can make somebody's day. You know, two, it's a way for you to start opening up and getting better at being more of an extrovert. You know, which ultimately in beauty is so important. But complimenting, goes a long way.
Making someone feel good ultimately makes you feel good.
Yep.
So it's a win-win.
Start getting tips on top of the service, and all those things. You know, I when it comes to, I'm big on tipping. And I think that if you want, you know, I'm one of those people that I've been able to do well with tips in the past, and I'm just, in order to do well with tips, there's just certain things you do. You know, eye contact is huge. Complimenting is huge. Even a hand on the shoulder. Oh my gosh, you know, so nice to see you. It's huge. And so these little things, these little cues, just kind of giving some tips or whatever, you know, it's a lot. It's just something that can help you, and that helps with your brand, because as a beauty business, it really is your people. And, you know, I've stopped going, unfortunately, I used to go to European Wax Center, and I stopped going one day because I had a bad experience with one of the receptionists, and that was it. And, you know, and they did a great job when I would go, even though I've heard different things about them, but, it just matters. It matters. And then you talk about marketing. So, you know, I think that's like our last thing on our list. So with marketing and stuff, when people think marketing, they think billboards and commercials and ads and Facebook, you know, all this kind of stuff. And so, you know, marketing yourself really can be a one social media platform game. It can be something like, if you feel like your people live on Instagram, you know, handle Instagram. If you feel like a Facebook group of some type, maybe like a local Facebook group thing, you know, having the local name in it and, you know, waxing or something in it would help, something like that. But, you know, that's where you really need to get strategy. And it's not as simple as just posting your portfolio, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to, what is your specialty? Who are you trying to sell to, or who is the ideal client that you want?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of people need your service, and that's who you need to market for. But yeah, where are those people hanging out? It might not be Instagram, it could be Facebook, it could be Pinterest. Maybe it's at, you know, a local business, you know, that you can collaborate with. You've got to find who your ideal client is, where they are, and then you can find them.
Right. And know how to talk to them. So it really does come back to the planning. If you don't know who your people are, you know, where they live, what they do for a living, it's really hard to do all the other things that we
have to plan.
Yes.
When you don't have those important foundations.
Exactly. It's all about the foundation. And so when it comes to marketing, I think, you know, that is a whole nother beast to talk about, because the strategies depend on a lot of things. But ultimately, you know, to know if you're doing the right things with your marketing, because you may think to yourself, oh, well, I'm showing all these pictures of my lash extensions, you know, it's bringing in clientele, but it may not even be bringing in what you want it to bring in, right? Are the sales growing each month? Are you getting the results that you actually want? Start to like ask yourself these questions and be real with yourself, right? I know a lot, it's like I said, it's a very prideful thing to build your own business, and you want to be proud of it. But it's okay to say, you know what, maybe I've been doing something wrong. And, you know, in that case, ultimately the goal with marketing is, am I visible to my client? And am I speaking my client's language? Am I going to get them to book a service from what I'm saying? And if those two things aren't happening, if you're feeling invisible, if you're not being seen, that's going to be tough. So looking in and saying, you know, am I getting these results? And if you're not getting these results, then, you know, it's important to find those strategies. And that's actually what me and Ashy do together. We help with creating strategies and planning out with our clients. And so, you know, that might be something to look into. And, you know, we actually have a PDF, right, that goes along with this live, that all you have to do is just DM Boss Digital Lab with the word sales, and we will give you the PDF that goes along with this to kind of help you, so that in case you weren't writing notes or anything, or you're watching this later, you can just DM me that word and we'll get that to you. But yeah, on top of that, you know, if you focus, just to kind of, you know, finish up with this, if you focus on, you know, the planning and the making sure that you have not just the plan and the goals in the plan, but make sure that you know how to track those things, and then you know how to, you know, brand and market. Ultimately, you know, it should be easy for you to hit these goals. It shouldn't feel hard. It shouldn't feel stressful and frustrating. There's always gonna be frustrating moments in business, but you know, when it comes to service-based businesses and beauty, it's a booming market right now. And so if you're brand new and, you know, this is something that you struggle with, this is something that you can definitely get help on. Anything you wanted to add to that, Ashy?
No, that was all pretty good. But yeah, basically planning. So, you know, Valentine's Day is coming up. What is everyone planning to help bring in sales and help bring in more bookings and help reach those goals? So the PDF that Erika and I have done up will really help you plan ahead and make the most out of the campaigns that you do. So a lot of people randomly will just be like, oh my gosh, Valentine's Day is coming up, okay, I'm just going to post a special and hope for the best. You can't hope, you have to plan. So yeah, so we're excited to give you this PDF so you can start planning for success and not just hoping for the best.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. Anything else you want to just mention before I close this live out for everybody?
No, that sounds good. I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah, as much as we could in an hour. Okay, perfect. Well, I hope for those of you who, are just hopping on or whatever, I hope you catch the replay right after this. I'll be posting this up in just the next couple minutes. And please reach out if you feel like you need help or if you feel like, man, this is really good information, but I'm still overwhelmed. We are here to help. This is what we do. So with that, I'll close this out. Thanks so much for joining me, Ashy. And
Thank you for having me.
we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.